Hey, it's me again. I'm going to do a follow-up video, like a second part of my PlayStation 1 collection, and these are the RPGs. It's been a number of years since I've got them out and just kind of looked at them like this. Um, I really don't play them all that much because I have a PlayStation 1 Classic that is basically modded, and then I can play anything on there just by swapping out memory sticks that flash drives, and so I don't really get these out all that much, and then like put the discs in and play them on. Um, I really actually honestly don't even have a PlayStation 1 hooked up anymore just because of my having the PlayStation 1 Classic. But regardless, I have all these. All of these I've picked up over the years. I was lucky enough to get a lot of these between the time span of 2009 to about 2015. Like I think I can only think of really one RPG in here that I've picked up in the last year or two. But I just was lucky to kind of find a lot of these at thrift stores and yard sales. I remember there was one deal I got where I got probably 10 of these games, 10 to 12 of these RPGs I got in one deal where a person was moving. They were a college student or a graduate student, actually. And so that would have been like early 2010s. They had a lot of these games. Some of them are PSP games that I have still some of those, but a lot of PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 RPGs. And the girl was leaving the country. She was returning back to, I think she was Japanese, and she could just speak English and Japanese, and she couldn't take them with her. She had been in the United States for a number of years, and then I think she was leaving and then sold the stuff to me. So I was a really lucky situation. Years ago, I think I just asked her, and she was selling one thing, and then I asked her if she had any more, and then she had a whole tub filled of RPGs, and I was just and then I think all I really ended up adding was like another $50 because she was just really trying to get rid of stuff because she was leaving. Really don't find those situations all that much anymore, but a lot of these games I have put time into, and I do really enjoy a number of these RPGs, like Chrono Cross, and then Chrono Trigger. Phenomenal games. I think I played Chrono Trigger the most on this PlayStation 1 version. I mean, I've replayed it again on my PlayStation 1 Classic just because Chrono Trigger is an awesome game. I think I've only ever really sat down and played Chrono Cross like one time, and like for a number of hours, and it's good, but it doesn't get remembered quite as much as Chrono Trigger. Breath of Fire 3, I think I've played a little bit, and I don't have Breath of Fire 4. That's one RPG I don't have. And I was trying to think earlier before I started shooting this video about like what are some I don't have, and Breath of Fire 4 is one. Dragon Valor is one that a lot of people don't really know much about. It's kind of like a quietly released RPG. It's more like a brawler action RPG. Not too really in depth of an RPG. Kind of a good entry for somebody that's looking for an RPG that's not too intimidating. I mean, I guess I would call it an RPG. I mean, it's more of like a action RPG, which I those are the ones I like. But Final Fantasies still have some stuff still has prices listed on. I just never bothered to erase them. Most of those with prices listed on them are Goodwill. Final Fantasy 9 is a great game. I don't think I really ever put any time into Final Fantasy 8. I always really spent time with Final Fantasy 7 and 9. 9 is awesome. 7's just amazing. I know a lot of people do have opinions about 8. I just never put any time into it. Legend of Legaia is a game that I remember. There's a sequel on PlayStation, or not probably a sequel. on PlayStation 2. I can't think of what it's called, but it's got a unique fighting style. It's kind of like a fighter, turn-based fighting RPG, kind of reminds me of Xenogears. I mean, even though Xenogears is a better game. Thousand Arms, Wild Arms. The Wild Arms series is awesome. I know there were more on the PlayStation 2, but music is phenomenal in that series. The two RPGs that are kind of like the crown jewels of anybody collecting PlayStation 1 RPGs. Definitely those two, Suikoden or Suikoden 2, and then Valkyrie Profile are just super amazing conditions of those two that I got. I got so lucky getting those. If I can think of when, I think I got them at the same time. Got at a yard sale. It was just an amazing scenario. I think I was picking up games like this at a time when like people were just starting to think about trying to go after this stuff, and then the guy that I bought them from was a person who would buy kind of like what I'm doing right now, pick up stuff brand new when nobody else wanted it at the very tail end of a lifespan. And he told me about how he got them at like KB Toys or maybe Toys R Us, I think. And he said about how they were literally just like 10 or 20 bucks when he bought them. He played them and loved them, and then just felt like, based on the conversations I was having with him, he was willing to just essentially sell them to me. And at the time, I think I only really paid like maybe $5 or $10 per game, because I think he kind of had an idea that obviously they were sought after, but he wasn't going to make me pay $50 to $100 at a yard sale, because I think he didn't even have them out at the yard sale. It was one of those scenarios where he had some games out, some maybe like PlayStation 2 or Xbox games, and then I asked him if he had any other older games, and then he's like, I got a ton of games. I just wasn't sure that people would want that stuff. And then I ended up having him brought out like stacks of PlayStation 1 games, and I also picked up Dreamcast games from him too. Picking up Suikoden 2 and Valkyrie Profile. I think Suikoden was also his as well. I don't even really honestly remember how I came across that. I think they're all together. But I think that also was an instance where I was like lucky that I had enough money that I brought out with me at the time. But it also helped me too, because like we were carrying on a conversation. I found out he was a teacher, and I let him know that I was one too, and then that also benefited me, because then we started, talking about video games and just like our jobs and stuff like that, and that helped me be able to make sure that he would potentially sell this stuff to me, and that worked to my benefit. But again, that was years ago. This was probably when I got this, like 2013, around there, 14. That doesn't seem like that long ago, but wow, I don't realize I have two of these. I didn't even realize I had two of these. Has that ever happened to you guys? I really didn't even realize I had two. Yeah, wow. I knew, Final Fantasy anthologies I've put some time into. Star Ocean is the game that I just got in the last like year. I bought at a like a swap, like a video game swap meet. I played Star Ocean 2, but I never really put any time into Star Ocean 1. Both Lunar games. That was from the girl that was an exchange student. Sold me those in like the lump deal that she sold to me. Eternal Eyes I don't know anything about. I remember bought that at a thrift store. Threads of Fate I found at all of all the places I found it at an antique store. The antique store it was mainly furniture, and then they had this like hutch that was filled with just random stuff, and it had DVDs and a few video games, and that was in there. It was like the most random. That and Legend of Mana was in there, I can remember. And just like getting them for like a few dollars. Final Fantasy Tactics I've tried playing, but I know that people just love that game, but I just never could really get into it. Grandia I think is good. And then the top games I have at the top are the ones that like I really enjoy, that I have a lot of connection to. I've put some time into Alundra. Alundra's a great game. Kind of hard on a little bit on the harder side. But Parasite Eve, Final Fantasy VII, Legend of Dragoon, Xenogears, and Vagrant Story probably are my favorite RPGs. I don't think I mentioned Vandal Hearts. That's up there. I don't really have a lot of experience with that, but definitely if I was to just like keep just a core group of RPGs, it'd probably be Final Fantasy 7 and 9, Parasite Eve, Xenogears, Legend of Dragoon, Alundra, and then Vagrant Story is definitely a cool game. It's kind of hard, but definitely good. This Square as a company was just killing it in the PlayStation 1 era. It's just amazing how they were just putting out games or publishing the games that were just amazing. Anyway, this is my collection, and I really do appreciate PlayStation 1. If you're interested, I wouldn't mind doing PlayStation 2 because I kind of forget what I even have. And then I might pull off stuff like this where I forget about how I have 2 copies of the same game. Anyway, I'll catch you later. Thanks. Bye.